Imagine this. You wake up one morning in a perfectly climate-controlled room. The sheets are warm, the mattress cradles you like an embrace, the lights glow softly at just the right setting. Breakfast is a swipe away on your phone, delivered to your door without effort. Your schedule is automated, your errands outsourced, your environment optimized so that discomfort is nearly impossible to find. At first, this seems like paradise, but as you lie there, a question creeps in, unsettling, almost sinister. If everything is so comfortable, why do I feel so empty? This is the paradox of our age. We have engineered convenience into every corner of existence, yet restlessness and despair haunt us more than ever. Anxiety, depression, and existential dread are not decreasing in our world of comfort. They are multiplying. How can it be that the very thing we have chased for centuries, ease, safety, relief from suffering, has become the silent assassin of meaning itself? Consider the human spirit as a flame. Fire thrives on resistance. It needs oxygen, friction, fuel. Smother it, and it dies. Could it be that comfort, instead of nurturing the flame of life, slowly suffocates it? You might argue, isn't comfort what we've always wanted? Isn't it the proof of progress, the triumph over the cruel indifference of nature? We no longer freeze in the winters or starve when crops fail. We live longer, work less, and enjoy pleasures kings could not have imagined centuries ago. But beneath all this triumph lies an unspoken cost: the gradual erosion of resilience, creativity, and the hunger for something greater. Ask yourself, when was the last time you felt truly alive? Was it when you were resting on the couch, endlessly scrolling? Or was it when you were challenged, pushed beyond your limits, stretched into discomfort, forced to confront something uncertain? Why does joy so often emerge in the aftermath of struggle, not in the midst of ease? Friedrich Nietzsche once said, "What does not kill me makes me stronger." His point was not that suffering is inherently good, but that resistance is essential for growth. Yet in our obsession with eliminating discomfort, we have eliminated the very conditions that forge strength. Like a muscle that atrophies without tension, the human spirit weakens in the absence of struggle. The danger of comfort is not immediate, which is why it is so insidious. It doesn't arrive as catastrophe. It seeps in quietly, like a slow-acting poison. One day you realize that the ambitions you once had no longer burn, that the passions you once pursued now seem unnecessary, that the courage you once admired in others feels out of reach. Not because you failed, but because comfort dulled your hunger for more. And here lies the great contradiction. We crave comfort because it feels safe, but in choosing it endlessly, we invite a deeper kind of suffering, the suffering of stagnation. Humans are not designed only to survive. We are designed to strive, to overcome, to wrestle with the unknown. Take that away, and something essential dies within us. What happens to a society that idolizes comfort above all else? Does it grow wiser, more compassionate, more courageous? Or does it grow passive, fragile, addicted to distraction? Aldous Huxley warned in Brave New World that comfort, pleasure, and stability could enslave us more effectively than chains or whips. We would not need to be forced into submission. We would submit willingly, lulled into obedience by the narcotic of convenience. Perhaps that is the true danger. Not that we fail under hardship, but that we dissolve under ease. What if the greatest threat to the human spirit is not pain, but the absence of it? And so we arrive at the unsettling question: is comfort slowly destroying us? Not in our bodies, but in our souls. Not through visible wounds, but through invisible decay. The bed that cradles you also restrains you. The comfort that soothes you also weakens you. The ease that protects you also robs you. It does not happen all at once, but little by little, until one day you wake up and realize that the flame inside has dimmed, and you don't remember when it began. This is the paradox you must face. The very thing you think is saving you may, in fact, be undoing you. The question now is, why? Why does comfort, the prize of civilization, carry within it the seeds of spiritual decline? To answer, we must dig deeper into psychology, philosophy, and the hidden structures of society itself. Only then can we understand the roots of this quiet destruction. Why does comfort, the prize we chased for centuries, so often feel like a silent curse? To answer this, we need to look deeper, into the roots of psychology, philosophy, and the forces of society itself. The destruction comfort brings is not obvious because it hides beneath the surface. It is not the strike of a sword, but the dull ache of atrophy. The psychology of numbness. Human beings are wired for challenge. Evolution shaped us to adapt under stress, hunting for food, braving the cold, struggling to survive. In that struggle, we developed resilience, ingenuity, and strength. Yet, in removing the necessity of struggle, comfort robs us of these qualities. Psychologists speak of hedonic adaptation, the tendency for humans to quickly return to a baseline of satisfaction no matter what pleasures we achieve. The new phone excites for a week, then becomes ordinary. The promotion feels thrilling, then fades into routine. Comfort never satisfies for long, but it lulls us into chasing more of it, creating a cycle of perpetual dissatisfaction. We drown in pleasures, yet starve for meaning. Carl Jung would call this repression of the soul's deeper needs. By avoiding discomfort, we suppress the very instincts that could lead us to growth. Jung's idea of the shadow, the part of us we deny, applies here as well. Our shadow is not only anger, fear, or lust, it is also ambition, passion, and courage, buried beneath layers of safety. In shielding ourselves from pain, we bury our power too. Nietzsche and the danger of herd comfort. Friedrich Nietzsche warned of what he called the last man, a figure who rejects challenge and greatness in favor of comfort and mediocrity. The last man does not suffer, but he also does not aspire. He exists, but he does not live. We have invented happiness, say the last men, and they blink. Nietzsche envisioned a society where humanity, having eliminated risk and discomfort, becomes shallow, fragile, and complacent. Sound familiar? Our modern world, where entertainment is endless and pain is avoided at all costs, mirrors Nietzsche's nightmare. Comfort feeds conformity. The herd seeks safety in sameness. Step outside the herd, dare too much, question too deeply, and you threaten the fragile comfort of others. And so society quietly pressures you back into line, not with chains, but with disapproval, ridicule, or silence. Schopenhauer and the Cycle of Desire. Arthur Schopenhauer, ever the pessimist, argued that human life is defined by endless striving. Desire torments us until satisfied, and satisfaction only births new desires. Thus, comfort is a fleeting illusion. When we chase comfort as life's goal, we only accelerate the cycle. We buy more, consume more, soften every edge of existence, yet we remain restless. The will, Schopenhauer insisted, is never silenced. But in our attempts to numb it, we end up anesthetized, alive, but not awake. Huxley's Brave New World. Aldous Huxley foresaw a society enslaved not by brutality, but by pleasure. In his dystopian vision, people were pacified with endless entertainment and drugs that erased pain. Unlike Orwell's 1984, where oppression came through fear, Huxley's world was destroyed by comfort itself. Our reality is closer to Huxley's. Technology delivers constant novelty. Medicine removes pain before it teaches resilience. Culture celebrates convenience as the highest good. And so, without noticing, we drift into dependence, on screens, on systems, on pleasures, until we can no longer imagine life without them. The fragility of the modern self, comfort breeds fragility. Jean-Paul Sartre wrote that humans flee from freedom because freedom carries responsibility. To pursue your full potential is terrifying. It demands courage, sacrifice, and the risk of failure. Comfort offers an escape. You don't have to confront who you could be if you stay wrapped in ease. But this escape weakens the self. When challenges inevitably come, as they always do, those unpracticed in discomfort shatter. Anxiety, depression, and despair flourish not because life has become harder, but because it has become too easy. Viktor Frankl and the hunger for meaning. Viktor Frankl, who endured Auschwitz, argued that the deepest human need is not comfort, but meaning. People can endure unimaginable suffering if they find purpose in it. But people crumble when they live without meaning, even in perfect comfort. This is the paradox of modernity. We have removed much suffering, yet we have not replaced it with meaning. Instead, we anesthetize with distractions. But the hunger for meaning cannot be silenced. It emerges as restlessness, anxiety, and despair. Comfort hides the wound, but it cannot heal it. The silent manipulation of society. It is not just psychology or philosophy. Society itself benefits from our addiction to comfort. An individual consumed by convenience is easier to control. When you are entertained, distracted, and pacified, you are less likely to question, to resist, to rebel. Consumerism thrives on dissatisfaction. Each new comfort becomes the foundation for the next purchase. The cycle never ends because it is not designed to end. The system profits from your weakness, and comfort is the bait. This is not conspiracy. It is structure. The entire machinery of modern life trains us to equate comfort with happiness. Yet true happiness remains elusive, because it is not born in ease, but in struggle, purpose, and transcendence. The knot tightens, so the hidden problem reveals itself. Comfort, the thing we worship, is also the thing that empties us. It numbs us into mediocrity, separates us from our shadow, feeds our conformity, and robs us of meaning. Society encourages this because it is profitable, and we accept it because it is easy. And so we settle into lives that are painless but purposeless, easy but empty. The flame of the human spirit is not extinguished in one blow. It is smothered softly, with pillows of convenience. But what does this mean for the individual? What are the unseen consequences of this hidden problem, not in theory, but in daily life? How does comfort shape our identities, our choices, our relationships, our futures? To see that, we must look not at the roots, but at the fruits, at the silent, corrosive consequences of a life lived in devotion to comfort. Picture a river that once roared with life, carving valleys, moving stones, shaping the earth itself. Now imagine that same river, dammed and reduced to a trickle, its power contained, its current stilled. It still exists, but its vitality is gone. This is what comfort does to the human spirit. It does not kill outright. It reduces, diminishes, numbs. The consequences of a comfort-obsessed life are rarely sudden disasters. They are slow erosions, invisible at first, undeniable over time. They seep into your daily routines, your relationships, your identity, and eventually into the very fabric of society. Let us look closely at these hidden costs. The atrophy of resilience. Without struggle, resilience decays. You see it everywhere. The smallest inconveniences spark outsized frustration. Minor discomforts feel unbearable. People collapse under pressures that previous generations would have considered trivial. Comfort conditions us to expect ease, so when reality delivers hardship, we are unprepared. Life will always contain pain, illness, loss, rejection, uncertainty. A spirit untrained by difficulty is fragile, and fragility breeds fear. Instead of meeting life with courage, we recoil, we avoid, we numb. The death of ambition. Ambition does not thrive in ease, it thrives in challenge. But when life offers endless distraction, the hunger to strive is dulled. Why pursue mastery when entertainment is one click away? Why risk failure when comfort offers immediate gratification? Slowly, the dreams you once had are traded for routines. The fire of possibility dims until ambition itself feels childish, unrealistic. You stop reaching, not because you have achieved all you want, but because comfort has taught you to stop wanting more. Nietzsche's last man becomes visible here. People who no longer aspire, who trade greatness for convenience, who call their numbness happin. Shallow relationships. Comfort's influence extends into how we connect with others. True intimacy requires discomfort, honest conversations, vulnerability, the risk of rejection. But in a comfort-driven culture, we avoid these challenges. We swipe, scroll, and distract instead of risking depth. Relationships remain superficial, fragile, unable to withstand conflict. We seek partners who provide ease, not those who challenge us to grow. Friendships become transactional. Families fracture under the weight of unspoken truths. Love itself is diluted into comfort, not transformation. The addiction to distraction. When comfort dulls the hunger for meaning, the vacuum is filled with distraction. Screens glow, feeds refresh, notifications pulse. These are not neutral technologies. They are engineered to pacify. Each scroll delivers the illusion of stimulation, but in truth it deepens emptiness. This addiction is not accidental. It is the logical consequence of comfort. Boredom becomes unbearable, so we chase micro-doses of pleasure. But pleasure without depth leaves us hungrier than before. A society anesthetized by distraction loses the ability to sit in silence, to wrestle with questions, to seek truth. The illusion of control. Comfort creates the illusion that life can be managed, optimized, and controlled. But this illusion shatters the moment reality resists. When illness strikes, when relationships end, when death arrives. The unprepared spirit cannot cope with chaos. Anxiety spreads like wildfire. Depression deepens. People cling to false certainties or external authorities to shield them from uncertainty. The less we endure discomfort voluntarily, the less capable we are of enduring it when it inevitably arrives. The erosion of meaning. Meaning is not born from ease. It is forged in struggle. Viktor Frankl observed in the concentration camps that those who survived were not always the strongest, but those who found meaning in their suffering. But when life is engineered to eliminate all suffering, meaning itself erodes. What do you live for when nothing demands sacrifice? What anchors your soul when everything is provided? Comfort whispers that meaning is unnecessary, but the human spirit knows otherwise. And so, in the midst of abundance, despair grows. Cultural stagnation. The consequences of comfort extend beyond individuals into the collective. Cultures built on struggle often produce greatness, art, philosophy, innovation born from necessity. But cultures addicted to comfort stagnate. Why risk creating something bold when mediocrity sells? Why challenge the status quo when entertainment soothes the masses? Why sacrifice for truth when distraction offers relief? Civilizations rise on the shoulders of those willing to endure discomfort for vision. They decline when comfort becomes the highest value. History shows this pattern again and again. Rome, once forged in struggle, collapsed under decadence. Are we repeating the cycle? The quiet tyranny, perhaps the most dangerous consequence, is how comfort enslaves without chains. Unlike oppression that comes with violence, this tyranny arrives with smiles. No one forces you to stay small, to waste time, to numb yourself. You choose it, again and again, because it feels good in the moment. In Brave New World, Huxley predicted a world where people would not rebel against their oppression because they would love it. This is our world, a society where we pacify ourselves with pleasures, where rebellion feels unnecessary, even absurd, because the bars of our prison are made of velvet. The ghost of regret. And then there is the consequence that waits quietly at the end. Regret. Imagine reaching your final days and realizing that comfort kept you from living, that you avoided risk, ambition, passion, truth, all because it was easier to stay safe. This ghost is merciless. It haunts not with what happened, but with what never did. The words unsaid, the risks untaken, the life unlived. Comfort promises to save you from pain, but in the end, it delivers the deepest pain of all, the awareness that you traded aliveness for ease. The question that remains, so we see the consequences clearly: atrophy of resilience, death of ambition, shallow relationships, addiction to distraction, erosion of meaning, cultural stagnation, the ghost of regret. Comfort does not simply soothe, it suffocates. And yet, if comfort destroys, must we reject it entirely? Is the answer to embrace suffering for its own sake? Or is there another path, one of rebellion, not against comfort itself, but against its tyranny over us? The question now is not whether comfort harms us. It is, how do we break free from its grip? Rebellion rarely begins with swords and fire. Sometimes the greatest rebellions begin quietly, with a single decision, a shift in perspective, a refusal to remain asleep. To break free from the silent tyranny of comfort, you must not abandon it entirely, but you must dethrone it. Comfort cannot be your master. It must become your servant. But how do you reclaim your spirit in a world that constantly lures you back into ease? How do you resist a force so subtle, so seductive, that it feels like freedom itself? Choosing discomfort deliberately. The first act of rebellion is to choose discomfort intentionally. Instead of waiting for life's hardships to strike, you place yourself into situations that stretch, challenge, and sharpen you. This is the essence of growth. Think of physical training. Muscles only grow when they are stressed, torn, and rebuilt. Without resistance, the body weakens. The same law applies to the spirit. Voluntary discomfort, whether through physical challenge, intellectual struggle, or emotional vulnerability, fortifies you against life's inevitable storms. Cold showers, fasting, long runs, public speaking, honest conversations. These are not punishments but practices. They remind you that you are stronger than you believe, that resilience is not inherited, but cultivated. Reframing struggle as meaning. The second act of rebellion is to reframe struggle. Instead of asking, how can I avoid this pain? Ask, what does this pain mean? Viktor Frankl taught that suffering, when tied to meaning, ceases to be mere suffering. It becomes sacrifice. The discomfort of raising a child, the exhaustion of pursuing a vision, the fear of telling the truth, these are not meaningless pains. They are investments in purpose. When you tie discomfort to meaning, it becomes not your enemy but your ally. You stop fleeing from it and start harnessing it, recognizing that what challenges you also refines you. The courage to confront the shadow. Carl Jung insisted that wholeness comes from facing the shadow, the dark, repressed parts of yourself. Comfort prevents this confrontation by numbing you, but rebellion demands it. Look into the places you avoid, your fears, your anger, your insecurities, your unfulfilled desires. They are not weaknesses to hide from, they are truths to integrate. Only by embracing the uncomfortable aspects of yourself can you unlock the fullness of who you are. This is not easy. It requires courage, honesty, and humility, but it is also liberating. When you stop running from your shadow, you stop being controlled by it. The art of saying no. Another form of rebellion is deceptively simple: saying no. Society thrives on your compliance, your willingness to consume, to conform, to remain distracted. Each advertisement whispers, you deserve this comfort. Each cultural norm pressures, don't question, don't deviate. To rebel is to refuse, to turn off the screen, to step away from the endless scroll, to reject the demand to constantly upgrade, optimize, and indulge. In saying no to what numbs you, you create space for what awakens you. Embracing voluntary simplicity. Rebellion does not require poverty, but it does require simplicity. The more comforts you accumulate, the more they own you. Each possession becomes a tether, each convenience a chain. Consider practicing voluntary simplicity, not as deprivation, but as liberation. Choose fewer distractions so you can focus on what matters. Eat not for indulgence but for nourishment. Live not for accumulation but for alignment with your values. Simplicity sharpens attention. It removes the noise of excess, allowing you to hear the deeper call of your life. Reconnecting with struggle as a collective, this rebellion is not only personal, but collective. Cultures decline when comfort reigns, but they also rise again when individuals rediscover courage. Throughout history, movements for freedom, justice, and truth were born not in comfort but in hardship. People chose to endure discomfort together, marching in protest, speaking against tyranny, risking reputation and safety for something greater. To rebel against comfort is also to connect with others who hunger for more than ease. Together, discomfort transforms into solidarity, and solidarity becomes power. Redefining success. Perhaps the most radical rebellion is to redefine success. Modern society equates success with the accumulation of comforts, wealth, status, ease. But true success is not measured by how comfortable you are, but by how alive you are. Ask yourself, would you rather live a long, easy life of quiet mediocrity, or a shorter, harder life ablaze with meaning, passion, and courage? Most will choose the former, but the rebel chooses the latter, not recklessly but intentionally, knowing that life's value lies not in its ease, but in its intensity. Historical examples of rebellion. History is filled with those who chose discomfort, and in doing so, transformed the world. Socrates, who chose death over abandoning his principles, teaching that truth matters more than safety. Nelson Mandela, who endured decades of imprisonment, emerging not broken but strengthened, ready to lead a nation. Mahatma Gandhi, who embraced simplicity and suffering as tools of resistance, toppling an empire without violence. These figures were not superhuman. They were individuals who refused to let comfort dictate their lives. Their rebellion was not only against systems, but against the human tendency to choose ease over truth. The inner rebellion. Ultimately, the rebellion begins within. No law, no government, no corporation can force you to remain enslaved to comfort without your consent. You may not control the world, but you control your choices. Each time you choose discomfort over ease, truth over convenience, meaning over distraction, you chip away at the tyranny of comfort. Each act of courage rekindles the flame of the spirit. This rebellion will not make life easier. In fact, it will make it harder. But in that hardship lies the very thing comfort promised but could never deliver: aliveness. Toward the final realization. So the question is no longer whether comfort harms us, nor even how to escape it. The deeper question is, what lies on the other side of rebellion? What ultimate truth is revealed when you strip away the illusions of ease and confront life directly, with all its pain and all its wonder? The answer is not merely survival, nor even resilience. It is something greater, a revelation that redefines existence itself. But to see it, you must be willing to step fully into the fire, to confront reality without anesthesia. The final realization waits there, beyond rebellion, like a horizon seen only after a long climb. Imagine for a moment that you have stripped away every cushion, every distraction, every layer of unnecessary comfort. You stand bare before the rawness of life, no screen between you and the silence, no endless comforts to shield you from your thoughts, just you and existence itself. At first it is terrifying. Without comfort, you feel the sting of reality. The world is unpredictable. The future is uncertain. Death hovers at the edges of your awareness. You feel small, vulnerable, exposed. But then something unexpected happens. Beneath the fear, a strange power awakens. This is the ultimate truth. Comfort is not life. Struggle is not death. The essence of being alive is found in the dance between the two. Aliveness beyond comfort. For too long, we have mistaken survival for living. To be alive is not to be free from discomfort, nor is it to suffer endlessly. It is to embrace the tension, to stand in the paradox where joy and pain, order and chaos, life and death coexist. Carl Jung suggested that wholeness is not found in perfection, but in integration. You are not meant to banish your discomfort or surrender entirely to it. You are meant to integrate it, to recognize it as a vital part of your existence. Discomfort is not the enemy, it is the path. In that realization, you reclaim a truth long forgotten, that you are nescient. Not fragile glass to be protected, but fire to be fed. Freedom in responsibility. Jean-Paul Sartre wrote that we are condemned to be free. At first glance, this seems like a curse. Freedom means responsibility, the burden of shaping your own life, the terror of having no excuses. But in this responsibility lies the deepest freedom. Comfort shields you from responsibility by giving you ready-made distractions, shallow pleasures, external validation. But once you break free, you see that freedom is not ease, it is weight. It is the terrifying, exhilarating responsibility of creating meaning for yourself. The ultimate truth is this: happiness is not handed to you, success is not comfort, life is not waiting. It is you, choosing, creating, carrying the burden of your existence with courage. The power of transcendence. Friedrich Nietzsche called for the rise of the Übermensch, the one who creates values in a world where old ones collapse. The ultimate realization is that you are not here merely to inherit values, but to create them. Not merely to live safely, but to live fully. Comfort cannot give you transcendence. It can only give you sedation. True transcendence comes when you take the chaos of existence and forge it into meaning. It comes when you endure discomfort, transform it, and rise above it. Not by escaping life, but by embracing it in its raw fullness. Meaning over pleasure. Viktor Frankl's words echo here with piercing clarity. Those who have a why to live can bear almost any how. The ultimate truth is that meaning always outweighs comfort. The human spirit craves significance more than pleasure. It longs to belong to something greater than itself. Without this, life, even in perfect comfort, feels empty. With this, even in suffering, life feels sacred. This is why those who suffer for love, for art, for truth, for justice, often radiate a vitality absent in those who live only for ease. They are not crushed, led by discomfort, they are ennobled by it. Death as the teacher, and what of death, the ultimate discomfort? Comfort teaches us to avoid thinking of it. Yet death, when faced directly, reveals the deepest truth, that life is finite, fragile, and therefore infinitely precious. Arthur Schopenhauer may have seen life as suffering, but death teaches that suffering itself gives life urgency and meaning. Without the limit of time, there would be no reason to strive, no reason to love deeply, no reason to create. The final rebellion, then, is not against death, but against living as if you were already dead. Comfort lulls you into that half-life. Facing death wakes you into full existence. The flame rekindled. So here is the realization that changes everything. You are meant to burn, not to smolder in safety, but to blaze in purpose. Comfort smothers the flame, but discomfort feeds it. When you stop worshipping ease, you rediscover your vitality. You stop asking, how can I make life easier? And begin asking, how can I make life fuller? You stop hiding from pain and start weaving it into your story. You stop existing as a consumer of comforts and start living as a creator of meaning. This is the ultimate truth. The human spirit thrives not in safety, but in struggle, not in sedation, but in striving, not in comfort, but in courage. A poetic ending. One day, when you are old and the end draws near, you will not remember the soft pillows or the easy days. You will remember the moments when you dared, the times you risked rejection to speak truth, the nights you endured exhaustion to create something beautiful, the mornings you faced fear and walked forward anyway. You will remember not the comforts you accumulated, but the battles you fought, the ones you won and the ones you lost, because in those battles, you were most alive. Comfort may whisper safety, but life itself whispers. Purse urgency, you are here for only a moment. Burn brightly. Do not trade aliveness for ease. And perhaps if you listen closely, you will hear a voice within, your own spirit, long muffled by comfort, now roaring with the truth it always knew. You are not here to be comfortable. You are here to be alive.